What's up, Facebook? This is your girl, Gail Crowder, and welcome to Wife Masterclass. I am so excited that we are going to have an amazing woman of God join us in Wife Masterclass. But before we really get started in Wife Masterclass, I want to do some housekeeping. You know, your girlfriend that's sitting at home and watching something that she should be watching and need to be getting forward into her marriage. Go hit her up and say, Wife Masterclass is going down. And tonight we're going to be talking about don't throw in the towel. You know, this is important because if you've been married past 2 days, that you want to throw in the towel. And so go hit her up, just say, hey, they're in Masterclass and you need to hear about this because they're about to go in and they're going to go hard. And so I'm super excited about today. I met this beautiful lady on Instagram, right? And isn't it amazing what social media can do? We had an amazing conversation. And when I asked her to be a part of Wife Masterclass, I always ask God to expand my territory and bring you guys the best of the best, right? And so I've been following her on Instagram and God just connected us. We had an amazing conversation. And so I'm super excited to welcome her into Wife Masterclass. She has all these accolades. And if you guys went on the webpage, which you should have, because I'm not into, doctors and all this kind of stuff, because we're just human beings doing what God call us to do and reaching, higher heights. So she has a list of accolades. I can't even begin to name them all. She's a doctor, she's a pastor, she's a wife, she got it going on, right? And so she got it going on. And I'm just so excited. We've talked on the phone, but this is my first time actually seeing her, like I said, I follow her on Wife Masterclass, and you guys know I really keep it real. I like honest, down to earth girls, right? That made mistakes, and our marital past is very, very similar, which is kind of scary. But I'm who are real and spirits, like spirits and stuff like that. So I am so excited to have you on Wife Masterclass.
Thank you.
Welcome, Dr. I always Sakeisha. I want to call you Secure, but Sakeisha.
It's okay.
Wife Masterclass. Thank you so much for coming in, my ladies.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was just such an awesome time to be able to connect with you, because I watched you as well online, and I would always just say just how awesome you are, and just I love your platform and what you're doing. You have a passion about marriages, and that's something that's so much needed in this time. Just people that I connect with on a daily basis. And actually, I have some information for you. I was talking to someone about you the other day, so I need to get that to you. There's a medical doctor down here, and she's like, "Oh, I need to connect with her about something." I was like, "Okay." But like Gail mentioned, there are a lot of accolades, but one of my greatest things is just being a wife and a servant, just being able to help other women, because I know what it's like to be in a marriage, to feel, sometimes like, am I really doing the right thing? It just to, how you go and you find yourself in a situation, you wonder, was I really prepared for this? You kind of hit with the unexpected. Like you said, if you've been married more than 10 days, you may be tempted to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
If you married more than 10 minutes.
It's over, honey. And you like, when I was dating you, like you kept your stuff kind of tight. What's going on here?
And that's the amazing thing. That's one of the things I was thinking about, is when we're dating, we put forth our best self. But what happens when the real you starts to come out? Can your spouse handle it? Can you handle it when you start to see the real spouse? So that's why I encourage people, we can't determine everybody's timetable, but when you're deciding to marry someone, get some time to know them through different seasons and through different situations, because as time goes on, time will tell, and they will reveal the real them. And we have to recognize that just like we're imperfect, our spouses are imperfect too. And that's one of the greatest challenges, because in our minds, and as women, as wives, we wear mothers, we wear so many hats, entrepreneurs, involved in ministries, business, so many things are going on. one of the things, once you become a wife, sometimes you find out you may actually be losing yourself because you're so focused on all the many hats that you're wearing. So then you can be tempted to throw in the towel because life and marriage, everything becomes overwhelming. You start to feel like, God, this is like not exactly, you're giving me way more than I bargained for. I wasn't expecting to do X and Y and Z, the whole gamut of the alphabet. So that's just what's one of the main things when we were talking about the topic, don't throw in the towel. So many things come to mind. I'm sure that the ladies that are out there, if they're listening, I hope you feel me. There are times where you may be tempted to throw in the towel, and it's definitely going to be more than once, more than twice. For some of us, it may have been on a daily basis, depending on what season you're in. But I'm here tonight to encourage someone, because I've been on that side of the fence, like many other ladies, of just being tempted to throw in the towel, feeling overwhelmed, unappreciated, feeling like I'm invisible, just feeling like it's just too much on my plate. Like, what in the world did I get myself into? So you have to get yourself to the point to recognizing that there are always going to be challenges in your marriage. There are going to be tests, there are going to be trials, but these tests and trials are not meant to break you. They're meant to build you up. We're going to learn lessons from them. That's one of the reasons why I encourage ladies, don't throw in the towel, because one of my main points was your current situation is not your permanent destination.
Woo, that's good.
That's what I had to be mindful of. And it took me a while to grasp that concept, because when you're going through, when it seems like you're getting hit on every side, be it bills, kids, jobs, ministry, business, whatever it is, it's like, Lord, what did I get involved in? What did I say I do to? Because right now I don't. I don't want to do it. So it's just one of the main questions. Just be mindful that your current situation is not your permanent destination. Meaning, even when you're going on the plane, a lot of us, when you're traveling, you go through some turbulence, right? You don't just jump off the plane mid-flight. You got to deal with some things. Sometimes you got to deal with some uncomfortable situations, some bumps. Seems almost like the plane could be dropping out the sky. Like, what in the world? I'm never flying again. But then you find yourself back on the plane, right? Mm-hmm. The same thing with your relationship. There are going to be some rocky points. There's going to be some turbulence. It may seem sometimes like you just dropping, like, Lord, who's going to catch me? I feel like I'm free falling. But that is not your permanent destination. And the reason I say that is, now that you said that you've been married 28 years, am I correct?
29 years.
29.
It'll be 30 years, July the 20th. Woo, woo.
I'm celebrating with you. I'm trying to get there.
I've been married half of my life, for real. Yeah. For real. And you're right. And you have to realize that your current situation is not your final destination. And sometimes when you are like, you just feel like, oh my God, like, what in the world? And not just, it always have to be your husband, making the marriage difficult. It could be, like you said, bills, all the things that you don't think about because you are so in love, right? Mm-hmm. Once that honeymoon is over, and life really starts to happen, you constantly go back and say, why did I say yes to this commitment? Why did I say yes to this covenant? And is what's going on right now, even though it's overwhelming and I'm ready to throw in the towel, I got to see beyond that, because it is light at the end of the tunnel, right? And many a days, when I say many a days, like, I don't like you, you don't like me, so doing this, like, I'm good, like I could be a single parent because I got a nice career going here. Deuces, right? But then I had to go back and say, I made a commitment, right? I came from a home where, my mom was the mother, the father, brother, all of those things. I didn't see healthy relationships growing up. So I didn't want to become another statistic. And my right was a lethal weapon. So I was the driving force to make him want to throw in the towel, because he did. He threw in the towel. He left my behind for good. But again, you have to say, I don't want a plan B, right? Now, I don't say stay in a, abusive situation, and I'm sure you don't agree with any of those things.
Absolutely.
What I'm saying is if it's life happening,
Yeah.
you always go back to what's most important. And it is the covenant you made and the person that you fell in love with. All the other stuff is fixable. It really is.
Wow. I'm sitting here listening to you because I'm thinking about my notes. I'm like, she just taught everything. I could just sit back and relax. No, but it's good. That means, we're flowing in the same vein. That's what I love about you. I just think that's so amazing. And like you said, life will happen. And the things we've got to see beyond that. We have to see beyond the bumps and bruises and think about what is the bigger picture. Yeah, that's one of the things. Instead of throwing in the towel, and this is something that just always sticks out in my mind. There's a graphic that you may see. I don't know remember if it's on Instagram or Twitter or something. And it's like a young girl that's holding on to a little bear. And she just, God's like, let it go. And she's like, but I love it. But he has so much greater for it. So sometimes we're holding on to those things, and the things being things that have happened in the past, things that the husband may have said or done, things that have happened in life, business, ministry, whatever the case. When God's like, I've got so much greater for you, but you got to let go of that anger, let go of that frustration, let go and walk in forgiveness so I could take your marriage to a different level so you can see the greater that I have on the other side of us, because it's not even about us anyway. There's a bigger picture. A lot of times when you're married, it's not necessarily about us being happy, because we're going to go through some things. We're not going to always be happy, but it's what God wants to do through us in that marriage. We become the true demonstrators of forgiveness, of walking in love, of being supportive. We learn and we've built up so much in being in a marriage. And sometimes we don't recognize it, because when you're going through a test, it's uncomfortable. I think about it now, like when your kids are going through school, it's testing time here in Florida. So they're taking the Florida State Standard Test. It's frustrating. It's tedious. There's so much going on. My kids are like, I'm just sick of it. I want to be done. And now that it's over, they're like, party time.
There you go.
And it's the same thing with your marriage. You get frustrated sometimes, but then once you get through that point and you learn, you can celebrate together. And not only do you take from that, you take from what you learned in your marriage. And when you see you bless another couple, you give them the tools and strategies that you use, and you start to see their marriage turn around. You can celebrate with them, because it's like, yes, God, I didn't go through this for nothing. If I'm going through hell, I'm going to come out with something. And you coming out with tools and strategies that's going to turn around. You can help somebody else with it. So it wasn't about me in the first place. It's what God wanted to do through me and what God wanted to do through him. Doesn't mean it's going to always feel good, but at the end, the bigger picture. You see what I'm saying? So that means my current situation was not my permanent destination. That was just something I was flowing through.
I totally get what you said.
That's just something.
And when you keep looking at the bigger picture.
Uh-oh, did my screen freeze? Let's see.
She's stuck. But anyway.
Okay. We're gonna keep rolling.
The reason you was stuck, are you?
Yeah, mine is stuck, but that's all right. Let's see. Uh-oh. Am I back in? Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
The devil is a liar. But anyway, let me just keep going. We're going to complete this class, and we're going to make sure that you guys get everything that God has for you. And I don't know what's going on with the internet. Are you're having problems, Sakeisha? But anyway, she was talking about your current situation is not your final destination. and I don't know what's going on with the internet, but mine is fine. But anyway, regardless, the devil is a liar, and we're going to win, and this masterclass is going to go forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
My phone is, oh, devil is a liar.
you're back on.
Oh, you can hear me? Oh, Jesus.
Oh, he is. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Because it's like,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. It was going in and out for a
Don't
second.
you worry.
I was gonna dial in. I was like, nope, the devil will not get the glory off of this call. No, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Sure won't, because see, he wants people to throw in the towel. We haven't had no problems all for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But the devil is a liar, because he don't want people to realize that he's defeated, and that for the woman who this is meant, that she got on masterclass because she ready to throw in the towel, and so just keep going, because this is already anointed and appointed for such a time as this.
Yeah. So one of the second points. So that first point that I had was that your current situation is not your final destination, but which kind of leads us to the second point was remember the why. You shouldn't throw in the towel, because you got to take a step back and remember the why, meaning go back to the basics. A lot of times we're ready to throw in the towel because we've forgotten the why. We've forgotten what led us to that point. Was it the love? Was it the level of communication? Was it the level of commitment? Was it the dreams? Was it aspirations? Don't give up and throw in the towel on all of those things that you planned from the beginning just because you got hit with a little something. Or in some cases, like even in my case, it was a big something. We got hit with a ton of debt. We got hit with my father passing away right after, maybe 6 months after I had my daughter. So things just kept happening. Things that kept happening caused frustration and irritation, and then tempers start to flare when you got a lot going on. But we had to take a step back and think about the why. Because that's so important. You get so caught up in what's going on right now, you forget what even got you to that point. Because life will, like we said, life will happen. But the important thing is, how are you going to respond to it? You got to remember the why. That's just so essential, because people get so caught up, like we said, in what's going on now. What got you to this point? And more than that, where are you going with your marriage? What was your plan? It's so important. Like we have a plan for our business. They say we write the plan and make it plain. Do you have a plan for your marriage? Where do you want your marriage to go? Where do you see your marriage in 5 years? Where do you see your marriage in 10 years? And that's important, because a lot of people don't do that. Everything is just based on how they look or what their bank account looks like. So what's going to happen if that bank account dries up? Have we ever thought about that?
Exactly. And we always have a vision for what type of career path we want. We have a vision what we want our children, futures to look like. We have a vision for every area of our life except for the marriage. And see, the covenant is the only thing that we cut on this earth besides the covenant we cut with God, right? And we don't value it that way. We have a vision, and his word says, out of vision we shall perish. You got to have a vision for your marriage. You do.
That's true.
If it's not looking like it, what you put down, you have a roadmap to get there.
Yes.
You really do.
Yeah. And which also leads to another point that I had was like, why is a wedding ring of so little value in this generation? My husband and I have been talking to lots of millennials, and you know what they're saying? They're like, why do I need to get married when I can get the same benefits? So I was like, wait a minute, you got to recognize that marriage is a covenant. You guys are wanting to play house. You want to have the benefits of marriage without actually having that level of commitment. And we're like, no, we got to dig down deep and find out let's get to the root of the cause. Let's find out why this generation is so opposed to marriage. What kind of, what are we demonstrating to them that's going to cause them not to even want to get married?
Well, I think, and we have to take credit. I think that we've done a poor job. And really what marriage is about, right?
Yeah.
We've done a poor job, and we have to take credit for it. We really do. We have done a poor job financially. We have done a poor job in communication. We have done a poor job in our churches. We've done a poor job in so many different areas when it comes to seeing healthy, strong marriages. We really have. And so it becomes this thing while, basically, why take myself through this when it seems like it's more spicier and the more end thing not to go down that aisle and spend that money, because it probably ain't gonna last no way. Because so-and-so last and so-and-so didn't last and so-and-so didn't last and so-and-so was cheating and so-and-so was cheating and the bishop was cheating and all this stuff. So it's like, why take myself down this road?
Wow. And it's so important for us to demonstrate to them, because that it's worth it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Marriage is hard work. It's not for the faint at heart. It's not for somebody that's just like after 72 days, they want to be done. It's going to require you to put in some hard work. Anything worth having is worth working for. This generation, they don't want to, it's like they don't want to fight. I'm like, look, it's going to require you rolling up your sleeves, pulling your hair back in a bun, and really digging in and getting to the heart of the matter. And a lot of people are, I guess, I don't want to say they're not as, dedicated to doing the hard work. If it's just too much work, they want to trade in the wedding ring and upgrade, not being mindful of the fact that
we want the benefits, but we don't want to do the work.
That's right.
We like microwave.
Yes.
Now we want it the way we want it, and we want it hot, and if it gets cold too quick, then we on to the next.
Yeah. And I'm like, and something I was like, no, it's not gonna work. And once you go on to the next, you do know that there's gonna be a set of problems with the very next one and the next one and the next one. So the only common thing here is you not wanting to do anything about it. You keep trading in a newer model, but you're still gonna have challenges until you learn to do the work and deal with the challenges of the issues at hand. Yeah. So it's like one of the things, our 3 points we tell couples, make sure when you get married and you find yourself getting to that point where you want to throw in the towel, there are 3 things you need to do. 1, you need to refocus on what's important. Yes, the kids are important. Yes, the job is important because you got to keep lights on. You want to keep a roof over your head, but it's very important to keep your marriage intact. 2, reprioritize. If you notice, when life starts to happen, everything gets put on the front burner. The kids have this, my job needs this, my sister needs this, and then the spouse keeps getting put on the back burner. Now, when you were dating, you handled your schoolwork, you handled your job, you handled whatever so you could spend time with them. Your spouse was a priority. But now that you have the ring, you have the last name, then they get pushed to the back burner. No, don't throw in the towel. Don't do that. Reprioritize. And that 3rd point would be just reignite the passion and romance in your marriage. You spent your time getting dressed up. When it's time for date night, you got your hair done, nails done, feet done, you're looking good, smelling good. So no, why is he coming home and everything is rollers in your hair, cream on your face, pajama? And the reason why I'm laughing, because I did that. I'll be the first to admit. And then it's like, you wonder why, why is he looking here? You're like, when he comes home, I'm not saying you got to look like a supermodel every time he walks through the door. I'm not saying that at all. Not trying to put that type of pressure on the woman. But be mindful, brush your teeth, comb your hair, just some simple grooming. When he comes home, men are sight stimulated. When he comes home, give him a reason to want to come home. He's like, you know what? I don't care what's going on out here. I know what I have at home. But what he has at home is the grandma pajamas, the rollers, the face cream and stuff every night. It's not as enticing to come home. I'm like, I just have to be real.
You're saying a whole lot of stuff, because I always tell my ladies, they are stimulated by TV all day. Mm-hmm. The secretary in the office, wherever they're stimulated all that. And like you said, they are visually stimulated, right? And the thing is that's why the One Sexy Wife movement really started. I'm not everybody's one sexy wife. I'm Gil's one sexy wife, right? you got to make sure that you don't look like you rolling out of bed every single day, because they are stimulated by sight.
Yeah.
And it's not a size thing. It's none of those things. Just learn to take care of yourself the best that you can take care of yourself. Comb your hair, and like I said, we have a date night every Friday night. And every Friday, he's like, where you going? I'm going with you. Well, I'm throwing on a woman. I don't care what you're throwing on. I know what I want to look like when I'm going with you.
That's right.
And so you got to make some effort, because again, when I was dating him, I made those efforts. At 29 years later, I'm still making those efforts, because there's some wolves out here that want your husband. So what you want, they will.
Yes. You are telling the truth. And I hope everybody that's on the call is taking some notes, because that is some serious wisdom. It's really important. Sometimes it's the simplest things that can make a change in your marriage, but we got to be willing to do the work. That means, take a few extra minutes, get up a little bit earlier, make yourself look nice. So if he's coming home and you're already home, make sure the house looks decent. Make sure you look even more decent. When he walks through the door, he's like, yes, I'm home. If he goes away on a business trip, he's ready, breaking his neck. I know what I have waiting for me at home. I'm ready to be out of here. And sometimes you got so caught up in life, and I'm raising my hands if you can't see me, because I was guilty of that. When he came home, he was just coming home. But then you realize, you see what's going on, and how people will approach your spouse. That's a whole different topic. But you got to make sure that, when you're at home, nobody's asking you to be a Victoria's Secret model. Not everybody's built like that. That's not my calling. But it's important to be, just take some time, some basic housekeeping things, just to make sure that when he comes home, that he's excited about being home and you're excited about him being there. So just because he's asking you, baby, why don't you dress up anymore? Why don't you do this and that? Don't take it personally. He's telling you what he wants.
Yep.
Why go find that out when you're in an attorney's office signing papers? You find out, all I need to do is just dress sexy for you. Okay, he's telling you. That's one of our key phrases. You will hear us say this over and over again. Express what you expect. We tell them, express to your spouse what you expect. And it's not that they're putting you down. I'm telling you simple and plain, this is what I'd like to see you wearing. This is what I like to do. Tell me. I'm not a mind reader. If you tell me that, then I can honor that.
Yeah. And the thing is, and I get, we are not having enough conversations in our marriages about what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do a marriage checkup twice a year for referral.
Okay.
And I prepare myself for those answers, right? Mm-hmm. How am I doing in this area? How am I doing in this area? And I used to not do it, because if he said something smart or like, no, you're not doing good, and I would take it personal. Yeah. But again, you can ward off some of those things that happen in marriage, right? If you would just ask the hard questions. And I always tell people, don't be afraid to ask the hard questions, because if you're not asking them, they're getting them answered somewhere else. So that's true. I have a checklist twice a year. Oh. I sit them down and I go through my checklist when it comes to the house, myself, sexually, spiritually, with my kids. I ask all those hard questions. Mm-hmm. And if there's some improvement needed, I work on them. Now, am I going to be perfect? Absolutely not, right? But at least I have a starting point. But Jill and I have that we have a relationship now where we can have those kind of conversations. It ain't always been like that, because he would say something crazy to me, then I was crazy back. but we have that kind of relationship now where, we have really put God in the center of our marriage, and we don't have no plan B. And so we work this thing out. Do we always agree? Absolutely not. Do we fuss? We do. I mean, we just human. But again, you got to have enough conversations in order to see if you can ward off some of these things, because everything that looks good ain't always good. So you got to start talking. Yes. You got to start talking. You got to start talking to your spouse and asking the hard questions. Let me see. Does anybody have any questions for us? Did you finish all your points, sweetie?
Oh, I had one more point, but we've kind of touched over it.
Okay, go ahead.
But it's just the last point was whatever you feed will grow. You don't need to throw in the towel. Just take a step back and think, what are you feeding? What are you doing in your relationship? Meaning a relationship is just like going to be like a plant or an animal. If it's left unattended for extended period of time, it's going to fade away and eventually die. So instead of throwing in the towel, start thinking, how can I feed my relationship? Yes, the green is the water. What is it? They say the grass is greener on the other side, but are you watering your own yard? Are you doing what you need to be doing to make sure that your yard looks inviting? You know what I mean? It's that you have to remember that in your relationship, you have a choice. Instead of giving up, just, have you ever tried removing yourself from the situation and think of it as, what if this was a family or friend that was having the same challenge that I'm having? What advice would I give to this young lady? Because a lot of times when it's happening to us, we're so caught up in our emotions. We're operating in high emotions, low intelligence. And we're not really figuring, understanding the dynamic of the relationship. But if you pull yourself out of there, I had a friend that came to me. This is what's going on with her. This is what's going on with the husband. What advice would you give them? Would it be the same thing that you yourself are doing? So just making sure that you're taking care of your home situation and just even trying to think of it from your spouse's point of view. Because I, as a woman, I'm waving my hands again. I had a hard time doing that. Everything was just how I saw things until my husband told me, he's like, look, I'm a man. I think as a man. I can't think like a woman thinks. But if you tell me what's going on, how you see things, then I can try to put myself in your predicament. He's like, look, as a man, this is how I respond to this situation. But now that you told me as my wife, when you say this, it makes me feel like this. If you do this, this is how it makes me feel. Then I'm trying to be mindful of that from now on. But you got to have those conversations, like you said, start watering and feeding your own relationship, having those tough conversations to get to the root of the cause of what's going on. And when we started talking about, I had this conversation with my husband about that a long time ago. But what I would just encourage the ladies, just be mindful. When you're feeding your relationship, you will see it grow. There'll be times where there'll be some hiccups. Things may not go the way you want. That doesn't mean throw in the towel. That doesn't mean it's over. That means you come to a bump. You're two separate individuals. You may see things differently and think differently, but you can have those conversations to get the two of you on the same page. Doesn't mean you're going to always agree. Sometimes it's like, okay, now I see how you see that. So in the future, you're mindful of that. So you don't repeat the same thing over and over and over again. So that was pretty much my last point, pretty much.
That's hot. So can you just recap for us, please?
Yeah, definitely. So our first point was your current situation is not your final destination. Just being mindful that you may be going through a rough patch now. We're not in any way, shape, or form encouraging a lady to stay in a relationship where there's some sort of abuse or something like that. We're not saying that at all. But what we are saying is that look at the bigger picture. Look beyond the current situation to your final destination. Point number 2 is remember the why. Before you throw in the towel, remember the why you fell in love, why you got married, what were the plans for your marriage, where did they go wrong, and what can be done to correct them. So that's definitely point number 2. And point number 3 is whatever you feed will grow. So instead of throwing in the towel, spend more time watering your own lawn, being more attentive to what's going on in your household, making sure that things are being addressed, and having those conversations such that your spouse can do the same. They are not mind readers. I don't read in my husband's mind. He can't read mine. But if I open up my mouth, because it's a powerful thing, as women, we speak so many words a day, and the husbands speak a whole lot less, but we can use some of those words to have those conversations with them, meaning conversation, two people talking to one another, not us just flying off at the mouth, ripping out 25 things he's done wrong today. Having a conversation means I talk, he listens. Then let him talk and I listen. And don't do the jump rope mentality. Be ready to jump on in and say what you got to say. Honestly, listen to him because that's really, really important.
That's good. That I feel that sometimes that to the whole point. Because I'd be like, woo, you know what I mean? I really do. But I just want to say, oh my God, this was some good stuff, and you guys need to really, really adhere to this stuff. And so tell them how they can get a hold of you.
Oh,
I see the links and stuff going on, but also they have an amazing book, Marriage Can Win. Tell them how to get your book. Tell them how to connect with you on all your social platforms.
oh, sure, definitely. You can email me directly at marriagecanwin@gmail.com. I'm on social media under Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram under Marriage Can Win, or you can find me under Dr. Sakeisha. And you can get our book directly from our website at marriages with an S, marriagescanwin.com. It's also available on Kindle, Barnes and Nobles, Amazon.com, but you can go directly to our page if you want an autographed copy. We'd be happy to do that. But we definitely look forward to connecting with you. We definitely hope and pray that this was a blessing to you and that you're walking away with nuggets of wisdom, because we're ready to continue to see marriages just soar and go to the next level. And we want to make sure that you're not throwing in the towel.
Well, I walked away with what I feed to grow, honey. I'm still trying to make it grow after 30 years. Yes, and amen. I ain't starting over. So, I speak nothing but blessings over you. And so, ladies, we had an amazing time, and I just thank you so much for your ministry. You guys, she does a thing, Ask the Doctor, once a month, right? So The next one is coming in May. You guys, follow them on Instagram, get on their email list so you'll know when Ask the Doctor comes up, right? And so you can make sure that you support them. Again, buy a book, right? Hit her up with any questions that you have, because again, you're not on this journey alone. There's some amazing people doing some amazing work, and I thank you so much for being part of my Wife Masterclass. A few housekeeping things. Next week is class, and I'll be bringing it home. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go in. This is the last masterclass for the spring, and then we'll kick it off again in the fall. And so I'm going to do something totally different for the fall, so y'all get ready. I have Saturday Sizzle coming up June the 16th. So Saturday Sizzle, all things sexy. It's a shopping experience for women. So you can go on my website, gailcrowder.com. It's some awesome things going on over here. And there's some awesome things going on with you guys too. So again, get on their website, go to their email list, because I know it's a pop-up that comes up. They got some stuff for you. So go over there and marriages with an S .com, and I see them posting it and stuff like that. So and again, she talked a little bit about losing yourself. I'm starting an 8-week program. Say 8-week program, May 1st. It's going to be every Tuesday for 8 weeks, and it's called Loving Him Without Losing You. And it's a program, because I know what it is to have all of these balls up in the air. And when they ask me, who are you? I begin to say, I'm Gil's wife, Justin and Joshua's mama, and all that kind of stuff. But that really is not who I am, right? Yeah. I lost myself so bad that I had to take a back seat and really go into figure out who the core of Gail was. And it was not the accolades. It was not all the stuff that I do. It's who I was internally, and I had to tap into that. And I want to make sure, if you're in your marriages, that you don't lose who you are and take on everybody else's identities. So again, that's on the website. And so just go to gailcrowder.com. But again, I love you guys to pieces. If you need me, you know where to find me, right? Just on all my social media is my name, Gail Crowder. So have an amazing night. I will see you guys next week, Thursday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Again, thank you so much for being in Masterclass. I love you guys to pieces.
All right. Good night.
Good night.